Welcome back to the preview show. We're back after a week off. Sorry, I had some personal stuff I had to take care of last week. I'm Casey Campbell, and we brought a New Yorker on this week because it is Glen week. Nathan Solomon, the managing editor of the Podium Finish. How's it going?
Casey, it's going. How are you?
It's good. It's Glen week. I know you're heading there tomorrow, so
It is. I'm very excited for this last race of the year, which is kind of sad, but
it's all right. You'll go tomorrow next year.
Hopefully.
So you never know. So yeah, it's a big week. Watkins Glen. Lots of big storylines heading into this weekend. We're only 2 races until the regular season finale. No, we're not going to answer if we're going to have 16 winners or not. But there's also a lot of have an international flavor this weekend because 7 countries will be represented this weekend. Lots of international stars will be in the field. Obviously highlighted by the one, the only Kimi Räikkönen, who will be in the Project 91 car. I know you've been excited about this since this was announced, but you get to see a former Formula One champion, an IMSA champion, lots of guys who have competed in all different types of series are going to be in this week's star-studded field.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be really cool to see kind of that racing diversity there. 7 different countries represented, I believe, is the most ever in a single NASCAR race, which that'll be really cool, and just the publicity that it's going to bring to that. Like, obviously, we've talked about it so much, not necessarily on this channel, but just like the growth of F1 in the United States, like that's certainly been a talking point within motorsports. I'm not going to say that this is an opportunity for NASCAR to like slow that growth down, but in a sense, this is an opportunity to kind of compete with them, just because, like, the road, obviously Watkins Glen being a storied road course, having 7 different nationalities represented, and then of course the F1 flair to it. Kimi Räikkönen and then Danny Kvyat. Obviously, Räikkönen had a very storied F1 career, one of the greatest F1 drivers, arguably of all time. But then another guy that ran at least a couple of seasons in F1, Danny Kvyat. So that's going to get people to watch on TV in the United States, out of the United States. It's going to get people to the racetrack. I know of plenty of people that want to go to the race just to see. So, just see the 2 F1 guys, to see Mike Rockenfeller, who's driving the Spire car, a Le Mans champion there. So it's gonna be really cool to see just so many nationalities represented in a race that also has so much meaning for the Cup Series season. So
yeah, for sure. And also, I know the Xfinity Series doesn't have that international flavor, but there's a lot of star power in that series as well.
Yeah, we got Kyle Larson down there. We have William Byron in there, and from what I believe, they basically have identical paint schemes, so I'm sure that won't get confusing at all.
Yeah.
Like identical sponsors, HendrickCars.com, so I'm sure their spotters will love that. But yeah, who else? We got Cole Custer in the SS Greenlight car. He's done a handful of races with them throughout the season, of course. Won an Auto Club. We got Ross Chastain. He's in the 92 car for Mario Gosselin. He most recently ran the Indy road course, so he's been doing some of the road course stuff. Kind of interested to see what happens with him there, because if you remember right, he kind of booted Sheldon Creed out of the way there towards the end of that Indy road course race. I don't know if there'll be anything coming back there, because hey, Sheldon Creed, he's trying to fight his way to the playoffs. I mean, he had a really good car that in the Indy road course race. I think he was battling for a top 5, ended up finishing like 23rd or something. And that really hurt his chances of pointing himself into the playoffs. So I think that's certainly something to watch. Like with them kind of the Xfinity Series really heating up their playoff race. Chastain really needs to not do anything stupid in that race. And I'm not trying to like sound mean or anything, but it's just the truth. Like, obviously he's gotten into some kind of trouble in the Cup races. Like, he's involved in an incident every week, but that really can't happen in Xfinity when that's not your series. And that's not really your car anyway. I mean, your car is the Trackhouse car. But anyway, yeah, it'll be a good Xfinity race. We got some road course ringers in there. We got Kaz Grala in there. I mean, obviously he does oval stuff too, but known for his road course racing skills. We've got Andy Lally in there. We've got a handful of other road course racers in there too. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yep, Scott Hecker will be in there for BJ McLeod Motorsports, and I'll just run through a bunch of the other assorted people that are going to be in there. Brandon Brown will be in the 5. Of course, that was announced last week. Of course, with Chris Wright taking over a majority of the remaining races left for Brandon Motorsports in the 68. Blaine Perkins will be in the 02 for Our Motorsports again. And Andy Lau will be in the 08 for SS Greenlight Racing. Brad Perez will be in the 35 for EG Motorsports. Kyle Weatherman's back in the 34 for Jesse Wuji, and Preston Pardis will be in the 91 for DGM. So lots of interesting stuff happening this weekend for sure. But it's we're only 2 races left. Oh, now we'll mention ARCA in a little bit. Now that gets its own show. But going into this weekend, it's a pretty massive weekend for both Xfinity and Cup. We'll get to ARCA in a minute.
Yeah, it's a huge weekend, especially for Cup. I mean, only 2 races left in the regular season for the Cup Series. The reason why they moved Watkins Glen back for 2 weeks is to create some more of that playoff drama and the regular season with Watkins Glen and then Daytona. Certainly the points battle is really hot. I mean, 15 winners right now. 2 drivers in the top 5 trying to battle it out for the last point spot. That's Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. Blaney has an advantage right now. He has a sizable 20, I believe it's a 26-point advantage. It's certainly not overcomable by Martin Truex Jr. But Blaney got stage points at Richmond. And even though Martin Truex Jr. actually finished better than him, Blaney increased his lead just based off of stage points because Truex Jr. really struggled in those first 2 stages. His car kind of came alive a little bit later. But that definitely hurt him in terms of pointing himself in. But I certainly wouldn't guarantee the fact that it'll only stay at 15 winners or 15 points paying winners. You never know what could happen. I mean, I was just on our track side with Marty Sakala, and we were kind of talking about there, like, you never know what happens with the pit strategy. What happens if Watkins Glen's kind of known to go green there in the later parts of that race, but what happens if we get a caution with 8 to go, 6 to go? That could really shake up pit strategy, and we might see guys kind of just trying something out of the blue, like an Eric Jones or a Bubba Wallace or a Michael McDowell. Just throw anything out there and just hope it sticks. And Cole Custer just see, hey, if I all the leaders are coming in, let's try staying out. Let's see what happens if we get a restart here with 3-4 laps to go. Because that might be their best shot to try to win their way into the playoffs. And we've seen a lot of chaos this year, and I certainly expect a lot of chaos to ensue at Watkins Glen. Obviously, turn 1's a hot spot. The boot, or not the bootleg, but the bus stop is a hot spot. Turn 6, turn 7. There's a lot of great passing zones there. Basically, every turn is a great passing zone at Watkins Glen. So except for probably the carousel, but should be a lot of excitement out there. It'll be a lot of fun.
NASCAR doesn't use the boot. Well, I know a lot of people would like to see that, but who knows? One day. Of course, you talk about a lot of chaos. Of course, also we did mention ARCA will be there on Friday, so that'll be fun. Second road course for them, and that's a tight points battle as well. With Nick winning at Michigan a few weeks ago, now you got Raja only 7 points back, Daniel 9 points back. It's going to be an interesting battle for a championship. And then you got all these other guys who are just kind of there. You got Taylor Gray, Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, Jesse Love, Parker Chase, Connor Jones, and a bunch of others. So yeah,
and a lot of those guys that you just listed right there, after Raja and Nick and Daniel died, a lot of those guys are really good on road courses. So I fully expect most of those guys to contend for the win on Friday. I mean, Taylor Gray, he's kind of the hottest driver in ARCA that nobody's really talking about right now. Almost won a truck race there a few weeks ago at IRP. He has 3 main series victories this year, has an East Series victory at Dover. Pretty well rounded, obviously one at Mid-Ohio, one at Pocono, one at short tracks. He might be the most well-rounded driver right now in the ARCA series. In all honesty, obviously he can't run some of the big tracks right now just because of his age. But if he runs full-time ARCA next year, I'm sure he'll be a contender. But in terms of the points race, though, the 3 that you mentioned, Raja, Nick, and Daniel, the thing that Nick has is wins, right? He has 3 wins. Raja and Daniel don't have neither of them have wins, and And I think that both of those guys can still win the championship. I think Raj and Daniel still can win the championship, but they're not going to win the championship with a 0 in the win column. I think, I think at this point, just seeing that, Raja held the points lead for the first half of the year. Nick's now the points leader. I think there's probably a little bit more pressure on Raja and Daniel to go out and get a victory because they know that if they don't find a way to get to the victory circle a couple of times here down the stretch, then they're probably not going to have a shot to get Nick. So obviously some of the guys that aren't going to be in the mix for the championship could help kind of throw some things off, like Taylor Gray or Jesse Love or any of those guys. But I think Daniel and Raja, they need to get some wins here if they want a chance to win the ARCA championship.
So yeah, and you mentioned that, and usually we only have one big track left. That's Kansas. Of course, Nick won earlier this year there, and historically where the Rev cars have really shined and stuff there. But we got a lot of short tracks coming up there too. So, and traditionally the Rev cars have not been the strongest on those, and it's typically where Daniel has kind of really has shown his stuff at the short track. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, the championship is on a short track at Toledo, and where my final race will be this coming weekend. And if it's anything like the last road course that ARCA was on, we're going to be in for a show. That's for sure. And also a lot of fighting. A lot of people mad at each other in the last road course race in Mid-Ohio. I was there. It was some words were said. So that
Mid-Ohio acts a little bit more like a short track though. Watkins Glen is kind of your super speedway road course. Like that place is fast, man. I mean, it's so like people don't realize how much faster it is compared to most of these courses. I mean, it's kind of similar to Road America in that sense. I mean, Road America has a couple long straightaways, but Watkins Glen, the whole track is fast. So
yeah, should be some fun action there. All right, it's time for picks. I'm kind of reluctant to do this because after the big lead that Mitchell has gotten on everybody, almost has 100-point lead on Jonathan. It is time to figure out what we have to do. ARCA's got 3 races this week, and we'll cover them on the ARCA show tomorrow. But let's pick the races that you're going to be at this weekend. Let's go with ARCA at Watkins Glen. Who you got?
ARCA at Watkins Glen. I'm gonna go with Taylor Gray. I mean, like I said, he's kind of got the hot hand. Really in both series that he's running in, is coming off a win in the other road course race. Like I said, I think he's the most well-rounded racer in that series right now, and I don't think enough people are giving him credit. So Taylor Gray to win the ARCA race at Watkins Glen.
I agree with you. I got to go with Taylor as well. I mean, that team has just been really, really strong in the last few weeks, and then he goes out and wins at Pocono. So, and 2 ARCA races that you were at, he's won. So
no trend there.
Yeah. So we'll have to see if that trend continues. Okay. Let's go with obviously also ARCA it's a busy weekend for ARCA. After the Watkins Glen race, the ARCA West Series will be at Evergreen Speedway for the 1000th ARCA West race. So more on that tomorrow. And then Sunday they'll be on the same day as the Cup race. They will be in Springfield on the Springfield Mile. So 2 races in 3 days for ARCA this weekend. Of course, also coordinating with the Illinois State Fair this weekend in Illinois. But enough about that. Let's get to more Glen stuff. Xfinity time. We got
Xfinity Series. I'm gonna stick with one of the hotter hands in the Xfinity Series. Is the guy who just got the call up to Cup for next season. Mr. Noah Gragson going to drive for Petty GMS in 2023. Also has a handful of Cup races left this year with Colleague and Beard Motorsports. So I'll go with Noah Gragson though to win. I think he has 3 wins this season, but I don't know if he's won on a road course yet. So I think he's due to win on a road course. So I'll go with Noah.
Yeah, he's won at all the different. I think he's won at like all the wins he's had in Xfinity are on all different tracks. So we'll have to see if he can get a Glen win. So
and it's not that he's not been in the mix either for a road course win. He's always in the top 5, top 10. He just hasn't quite come through with one yet. But guys like AJ and Ty Gibbs and the Cup guys would definitely be hard to beat.
Yeah, I'll take Justin Allgaier this weekend. Junior Motorsports has just been on it all season long. Whether it's whether it's Noah, whether it's Justin, whether it's Josh, or whether it's Sam. They've been on it all weekend. And then there's also the fifth car this weekend you mentioned. I believe Kyle Larson will drive. Forgot. Yeah, he'll be in the 88. William Byron will be in the 17. So, so that'll be fun to watch as well. So, give me Al Geyer this weekend. All right, Cup time of the Go Bowling at the Glen. Rusty Wallace will be the Grand Marshal for that one, and we get our 16th different winner this season.
We do not, in my pick. I believe, well, it's gonna kind of feel like a 16th different winner, even though it won't be. I mean, this guy hasn't won since all the way back at the beginning of the year. Also won this race last year. That would be Kyle Larson. I think he's gonna learn a lot from the Xfinity race on Saturday, and finally break through with another victory, because they've really been on a tough stretch. They've not been finishing off races. It seems like they've kind of been they've been putting 2/3 of races together, and then whether it's the first part or the second part or the third part, they've just been kind of all messed up. So a lot of times it's been the third part. So I think Kyle Larson will finally break through with another victory, and his full focus is NASCAR this weekend too. So I think that might help him.
I have Kevin Harvick this weekend winning. Why not? I have to go with him. It's fun. He's on a roll right now. If he's on a roll, there's no stopping that 14. They've actually kind of stepped up, and it's like everyone's like, "Oh, he's done. And now he's won 2 in a row." So, give me the 4 this weekend. We'll see how that goes. So, yeah. All right. Before we go, what you got coming up on TPF?
Yeah, I mean, I've got plenty of interviews coming up, plenty of stories coming up. I'm not gonna spoil anything because I want the anticipation to build. But I do have some interviews coming up this weekend at Watkins Glen in the Xfinity Garage. So I don't know, you guys will have to guess who it is, but I have a ton of content planned from this weekend, from plenty of content planned for this weekend at the various media availabilities beginning tomorrow. So it should be exciting.
That should be fun and exciting there. Don't forget to follow Nathan on Twitter. It's nsolly02, and you can also subscribe to his YouTube channel as well for all of the content, of course, and also follow all the content at the Podium Finish as well. And on this channel, guess who you get to see tomorrow? You get to see Eric Jones tomorrow. He'll be coming on tomorrow. Plus, we'll also be talking to the new driver of the 68. Well, sort of. Chris Wright will be on here tomorrow as well. Also, we'll be on here. Yep. Yeah, he'll be on here tomorrow as well. So, of course, next week, have fun at the racetrack this weekend. Now, I know it's not the shortest drive is always the last one, I kind of say, because you got all the big trips out of the way early on. And of course, your last, maybe, I don't know, but your last race of the season, maybe.
Most likely.
You never know. And then, of course, you can follow all the coverage right here on this channel as well. We'll talk to you next week at Daytona.